What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. We're gonna talk about Bob Arum, man, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., and it is painfully obvious, man, that Bob Arum wants no part of a Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight. And you can tell with the ridiculous things that he's saying and the ridiculous, and honestly, man, just straight out, I'm not gonna say the word in this video, but anybody that supports this kind of this type of crap, man, I got no time for you. Because it's obvious, it's blatantly apparent what this guy's doing. He says something about Errol Spence Jr. not wanting a Terrence Crawford fight because Al Haymon will tell him not to take it because Bob Arum is white. Wow. Before I get into that, though, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos and when we do our live streams. Also, check out the Patreon. I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay. Let me start by saying this, man. There are plenty of ways that you can get out of the heat of the society of boxing fans wanting to see a fight when you don't want it. And clearly, one of the ways to do that is to blame the other side for not wanting to make the fight. But then go about doing everything you possibly can to make sure the other side doesn't want to make a fight with you. Bob Arum, when Terrence Crawford looked at Bob Arum in the boxing ring after the Amir Khan fight and said, I can't make these guys make the fight. Bob Arum starts blabbering on about people needing to boycott PBC if Al Haymon doesn't make the fight with Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. Now, he doesn't pick up the phone, right? He doesn't say, look, I'm going to call him and make a fight. Because, we've made fights together before, right? That's what many of the defenders of Bob Arum have said in the past. Look, Bob Arum has made fights with the PBC before, right? They made Manny Pacquiao fight. They made some other underling fights, smaller fights. But he says that. But then he doubles down because just threatening Al Haymon isn't enough. Now he's got to insult the intelligence of Errol Spence Jr. He's got to completely ignore the fact that people like Richard Schaefer regularly promote PBC fighters. And the last time I checked it, Richard Schaefer is very much a European. But the obviousness of the facts, shouldn't get in the way of Bob Arum because his purpose is not to make the fight. This is what he says. And if you guys defend it, there's no defending you. Spence and Crawford, who was promoted by Bob Arum, are black. Let me see what this fool from the boxing media, who was the fool that put Keith Idec? This fool, Keith Idec, puts this on Boxing Scene without any commentary to reject the foolishness and the blatant racism that's being espoused in this statement. Keith Idec just throws it up there in Boxing Scene. But let's read it. Okay. Spence and Crawford, who's promoted by Arum, are black. Arum, who's white, predicted Spence won't demand to face Crawford next in a heavyweight title unification fight. No, because you can hear what he's going to say. Arum told a group of reporters referring to Haymon. He's going to say, Spence, listen to me. Spence, don't let the white guys don't listen to the white guys. Because if you listen to the white guys, they're going to steer you down the road. Listen to me, brother. We're part of a brotherhood. And if I tell you not to fight Crawford, I'm telling you not to fight Crawford. That's exactly what he'll say. He also goes on to call Al Haymon a scamster. And wow, man. Wow. He said, well, let me tell you guys, you writers have to understand. I don't care what publications you write for, what website, who's supporting it. Al Haymon won't make fights. Wilder won't fight Joshua. Why? Because of Al Haymon. Spence won't fight Crawford, not because of Spence, because of Al Haymon. He's running a scam and a company, and people have to realize that he's ruining the sport of boxing. It's not, not to agree to make the Spence and fight with Crawford, which is the fight that all the fans want. Why? Because he's running a scam, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes on to talk about how he's making big fights for the kids like Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson. Look, man, that is a tactic not to make the fight. You are going to walk up to somebody who you're trying to deal with, and a bunch of people that support that guy literally hock snot out of your throat and nose and spit it dead in his face in public, and then say he's the reason that the fight's not being made. He insults the intelligence of the boxer that he's dealing with. And it's the facts that he's throwing around completely, just completely absent of them. Not looking at what's happening and then saying, hey, this is my opinion based on what I see happening. Just making up conversations whole cloth. Bob, and see, it's almost like, you want to go and said, and defend Al Haymon for what Al Haymon has said. But nobody's ever heard Al Haymon talk. Could you imagine if Al Haymon actually said something with people? There's enough internet trolls that just assume that they have never heard a word that's come out of the mouth of Bob Arum. Out of Al Haymon's mouth. Never heard a word coming out of Al Haymon's mouth. And swear up and down the guy is a complete liar, will tell you that he's a liar, will tell you that he's a scam artist, but they never heard his voice. He could speak on the phone, 99% of them, he could walk right by him in the street, they wouldn't know who he is. But despite this absolute and complete lack of contact between them and the man that they're talking about, would assume what the guy is going to say in a conversation. Bob Arum knows better, though. Bob Arum knows who Richard Schaefer is. Richard Schaefer's European. There's all kind of guys. Since when is Lou DiBella? I could have sworn that that one of the people trying to make the fight with one of the guys trying to make the fight with Eddie Hearn is Lou DiBella. I don't know what Lou DiBella, man. Maybe Lou DiBella is just real light skinned and I'm missing something. I don't think I am. What a ridiculous guy, man. But now, see, that's what you're supposed to expect out of Bob Arum. That Bob Arum ain't trying to make this fight because Bob Arum can't control the money. That's what Bob Arum's doing. And Bob Arum talking about the PBC is a scam and doesn't make fights. PBC puts on much better fights than Top Rank does. Put on a better fight this weekend between Adrian Granados, and didn't charge a thing for it, between Danny Garcia and Adrian Granados. Was a better fight than Terrence Crawford versus Amir Khan, which was a tin can, which was a great fighter against a tin can. 2 weeks, I think, what was it, 2 weeks before? A great fighter against another tomato can. And Lomachenko versus Corolla, another tomato can. Bob Arum Bob Arum's cards. There was not one upset on Bob Arum's card. And I can't remember the last time there was an upset on a Bob Arum card. Unless maybe you count Navrati versus Dog Day. Yeah, but as soon as they walk in the ring, you see, God dog, man, Isaac Dogbe looks like he's fighting a guy 2 weight classes above him, that shrunk down. But anyway, man, anybody that defends Bob Arum and Bob Arum's fighters around this sport, man, around this fight, I got no time for you, man. And you allow it, and there will be people that are going to say, oh man, but it's Errol Spence is running. Errol Spence should run. Errol Spence shouldn't make this fight. If I'm Errol Spence, guess what? I say, man, you know what? You're right. We're not trying to make this fight. I'm sorry, man. I can't do it. I'm not dealing with a guy that would insult my intelligence and think the only reason that I would make a decision to fight a guy like Sean Porter or a guy like Mikey Garcia, or a guy like Keith Thurman is because I don't want to deal with white people? It's absolutely ridiculous. Anybody that tries to defend this foolishness, hey man, good luck to you. And you deserve what you get. But anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out.